In the quiet darkness of a restless night on the rugged frontier, a farmer hung a solitary lantern on the edge of his land, a beacon of hope for those lost in the vast, unforgiving wilderness. The flickering light danced against the shadows, a silent invitation to weary travelers searching for guidance and refuge. In a land where isolation was as common as the endless prairie, this simple act of kindness became a lifeline, a guiding star for the souls wandering through the night's uncertainty. This lantern was more than just a source of light. It was a symbol of unwavering faith and compassion in a world often marked by hardship and neglect. The farmer's gesture reached beyond the physical glow, offering solace and direction to those who had nowhere else to turn. What unfolded next was a testament to the power of generosity, a community moved by gratitude and reverence coming together to build something enduring in the most unexpected of places. As dawn broke over the horizon, casting golden hues across the open fields, the farmer awoke to a sight that would forever change his life. Where once there was only emptiness and silence, now stood a village, humble but proud, gathered to honor his kindness by erecting a church at the very spot where his lantern had shone through the night. This was not just a building of wood and stone, but a monument to the human spirit's capacity to heal, unite, and inspire. This story is not merely about a farmer or a church. It is a powerful reminder that even the smallest acts of hope can build legacies that outlast generations. It speaks to the heart of the Old West, the relentless spirit, the kindness amid struggle, and the unbreakable bonds forged in the pursuit of light amid darkness. The farmer's lantern became a beacon not only for the lost, but for all who believe in the transformative power of kindness. Join me as we explore the journey of the farmer, the lost souls guided by his lantern, and the village that rose to honor his light. This is a tale of faith, community, and the enduring legacy of one simple act that changed countless lives under the vast, open sky of the Old West. The night air was thick with silence and the distant howls of wolves as the farmer climbed the worn wooden ladder to hang his lantern at the edge of his property. The wind carried a bitter chill, and the vast expanse of prairie stretched endlessly beneath a blanket of stars. For those wandering lost in the darkness, this humble lantern was more than just a flicker of light. It was a lifeline, a beacon promising safety and guidance in a world where the night could swallow even the strongest of souls. The farmer's decision was not born from duty or recognition, but from a quiet compassion forged through years of witnessing the struggles of travelers and neighbors alike. He understood the loneliness and danger that prowled the wilderness, and knew that sometimes the smallest gesture could mean the difference between life and death. As the lantern's glow danced on the wind, it offered hope to the weary, inviting them toward shelter, warmth, and a reprieve from the unforgiving night. As hours passed, the light from the lantern pierced the darkness, a solitary star on earth that called out to those lost in the vast frontier. The farmer sat by his fire, heart steady but watchful, knowing that the lives of many could depend on this fragile flame. His mind wandered to the countless stories of loss and despair he had heard, families separated by storms, travelers swallowed by the vast emptiness, and he prayed that this night would bring a different story, one of safety and reunion. Beyond the glow of the lantern, the prairie seemed endless and indifferent, yet this small light was a defiance against that cold indifference. It was a promise that no matter how wild or harsh the world could be, kindness would still shine through. This act, simple and profound, was the farmer's silent vow to anyone who needed it. You are not alone in the darkness. As dawn began to whisper across the sky, the farmer's vigil neared its end. But what awaited him with the morning light would transform his life and the lives of many others. The night's quiet watch had set in motion a story of gratitude and community, one that would grow from the light of a single lantern to the foundation of an enduring legacy. With the first rays of morning casting a golden hue over the prairie, the farmer awoke to an astonishing sight that took his breath away. Where only darkness and solitude had existed the night before, now stood a humble village, gathered around the spot where his lantern had burned through the night. Faces filled with gratitude and reverence surrounded him, their hands ready to build a church, a sanctuary to honor the light that had guided them when all seemed lost. The villagers, a collection of settlers, travelers, and neighbors who had found their way by the farmer's lantern, had come together united by a shared sense of hope and community. Their decision to build a church was more than a tribute to the farmer. It was a powerful symbol of faith in kindness, in human connection, and in the strength that could be found when people choose to care for one another. The church was to be a beacon not just for the lost, but for all who sought comfort and belonging. As the construction began, the farmer found himself at the heart of a movement greater than he had ever imagined. Men and women worked side by side, their efforts a testament to the resilience and generosity that had brought them together. Each nail hammered, each board raised, was an act of gratitude and a declaration of unity in a land often defined by isolation and hardship. The church rose from the earth like a promise made manifest, a place where stories would be shared, prayers whispered, and hope rekindled. It was a sanctuary born from darkness and light, a reminder that even in the wild and untamed West, the human spirit could create spaces of peace and belonging. The farmer's lantern had not only saved lives, but had sparked the birth of a community grounded in faith and compassion. As the sun climbed higher, the village around the new church buzzed with life and purpose. The farmer stood among them, humbled but proud, knowing that his small act of lighting a lantern had blossomed into a legacy that would shelter countless souls and inspire generations. This was only the beginning of a story where hope was the guiding light through the vast, open skies of the Old West. Days turned into weeks as the village slowly took shape around the newly erected church, the symbol of hope standing tall against the endless prairie sky. The farmers, settlers, and travelers who had gathered found more than shelter within those wooden walls. They found a shared purpose and a sense of belonging that had long eluded them. The church became the heart of the community, a place where faith was renewed and stories of hardship and kindness were passed from one generation to the next. The farmer, once a solitary figure, now stood among neighbors who had become family. His lantern, a simple beacon in the night, had sparked a transformation far beyond its modest glow. It was a testament to the enduring power of compassion, reminding everyone that even in the harshest environments, light could break through the darkness. His quiet courage and willingness to offer guidance had sown seeds that blossomed into a thriving, united village. Every evening, the church doors opened wide to welcome weary souls seeking refuge and fellowship. Inside, the glow of lanterns mirrored the warmth in the hearts gathered beneath the rafters. Hymns rose in harmonious chorus, echoing the resilience of a people bound by hope and faith. This sanctuary was not merely a building, but a living, breathing testament to what humanity could achieve when it chose kindness over isolation. Outside the church, children played freely in the open fields, their laughter a powerful counterpoint to the silence that once blanketed the land. The villagers worked together to cultivate crops, build homes, and create a future that honored their shared struggle and triumph. The farmer's lantern had lit a path, but it was their collective spirit that carried them forward through the trials of frontier life. As the seasons changed, so too did the strength and unity of the community grow. They faced hardships, storms, scarcity, and threats from beyond their borders, but each challenge was met with unwavering resolve. The church stood as a reminder that they were not alone, that their shared light would guide them through even the darkest times. The legend of the farmer's lantern and the church built in its honor spread beyond the village, inspiring settlers far and wide. Tales of how one man's simple act of lighting a lantern had brought a scattered group together to build a sanctuary resonated deeply with those enduring the harshness of frontier life. It became a symbol of hope and faith, reminding all who heard it that even the smallest light could illuminate the greatest darkness. Travelers began to arrive at the village gates, drawn by the stories and the promise of community. They brought new skills, fresh hopes, and diverse traditions that enriched the life of the settlement. Together, they expanded the village, built schools, and established markets, all rooted in the values sparked by that first lantern's glow. The church remained the spiritual heart of it all, a place where people found strength in fellowship and renewal in faith. Leadership within the village evolved to reflect the spirit of cooperation that had birthed it. The farmer, alongside respected elders and tribal leaders, guided decisions with wisdom and humility. They ensured that the community remained inclusive and just, fostering an environment where every voice mattered and every person was valued. This balance of respect and responsibility created a model of governance that protected the fragile peace they had won. Though life on the frontier remained unpredictable, the village thrived. They faced harsh winters, droughts, and the occasional threat from bandits, with a resilience fortified by unity and faith. Their story, born from a single lantern's light, became a beacon of perseverance, a reminder that hope and kindness could conquer even the wildest and most unforgiving lands. As night fell and stars blanketed the prairie sky, the village rested beneath the watchful glow of the church's lantern. It was a symbol of all they had endured and all they had built, a legacy of light that would guide generations to come in the vast, beautiful expanse of the Old West. With the church standing proudly as the heart of the village, life began to settle into a rhythm grounded in community and faith. The once scattered settlers had transformed into a tightly knit family, united not only by the hardships they endured, but by the warmth and hope that the farmer's lantern had ignited. Each dawn brought renewed purpose, as men, women, and children worked together to cultivate the land, build homes, and nurture a spirit of generosity and resilience. The church was more than a building. It was a living symbol of their shared journey, a beacon that reminded them that even in the face of relentless adversity, kindness and unity could build a future worth fighting for. The farmer, once a solitary figure tending his fields, found himself surrounded by people who had become his family. His simple act of hanging a lantern had sparked a movement that reshaped lives and destinies, proving that courage and compassion often begin with the smallest of gestures. His humility and steadfast faith inspired others to lead with kindness, teaching that true strength is measured not by force, but by the impact one has on the lives of others. Together with the village elders and tribal leaders, he guided the community toward a future defined by hope and mutual respect. Despite the newfound peace, the wilderness remained a formidable adversary. Harsh winters tested their resolve, droughts threatened their crops, and the shadow of outlaws loomed beyond the horizon. But the village faced these challenges with a collective spirit, their bonds strengthened by the knowledge that they were no longer alone. Every threat was met with courage. Every hardship endured with the support of neighbors who had become like family. The farmer's lantern had lit a path through the darkness, but it was the community's unwavering faith that kept the light burning bright. Children grew up learning stories of the lantern and the church, tales woven with lessons of kindness, faith, and perseverance. These stories became the fabric of their identity, passed down around fires and in schoolhouses, shaping the values and dreams of future generations. The legacy of the farmer's light was a constant reminder that even in the wildest frontiers, the human heart could create havens of peace and love. As twilight faded into night, the village rested under a sky bursting with stars, a reminder of the endless possibilities born from hope, unity, and the enduring power of a single, guiding light. The tale of the farmer's lantern and the village's church soon transcended the boundaries of the settlement, reaching distant towns and inspiring countless others across the frontier. It became a symbol of how hope could rise from the most unlikely places and how acts of generosity could spark revolutions of spirit in even the harshest landscapes. Travelers shared the story around campfires, and settlers carried its lessons in their hearts, spreading a message that challenged the brutal isolation and suspicion that had long defined the West. Newcomers arrived at the village seeking more than shelter. They sought a community grounded in faith, compassion, and resilience. The village welcomed them with open arms, eager to share the wisdom and values that had nurtured their growth. Schools flourished, markets thrived, and festivals celebrated the fusion of cultures and traditions, creating a vibrant and enduring tapestry of life that reflected the spirit of their shared history. Leadership evolved naturally from this foundation of respect and cooperation. The farmer, tribal leaders, and elders guided the community with wisdom and fairness, ensuring that every voice was heard and every need addressed. Their governance was a reflection of their journey, balanced, inclusive, and deeply rooted in the values that had brought them together. This model became a beacon for other settlements grappling with the challenges of frontier life. The land, once harsh and unforgiving, now blossomed under the care and stewardship of its inhabitants. Rivers ran clear, fields yielded abundant harvests, and wildlife returned, sharing the landscape with a community that had learned to live in harmony with nature. This harmony was the ultimate reward for years of perseverance, faith, and kindness. As the night deepened and the village settled beneath the watchful stars, the lantern on the church glowed steadily, a symbol of all they had overcome and all they had built. It was a beacon that would guide generations to come, a testament to the enduring power of light, hope, and community in the vast, beautiful expanse of the Old West. As the village grew and flourished, the spirit that had been kindled by the farmer's lantern became the foundation upon which a vibrant community was built. The people who had once been strangers scattered across the wilderness now shared a deep bond forged through shared struggle, faith, and unwavering hope. Their days were filled with hard work, planting crops, building homes, and crafting a future from the rugged land. But their nights echoed with laughter, song, and stories passed down by firesides. The church, standing tall against the wide western sky, was more than a place of worship. It was a sanctuary where souls found peace, unity, and purpose. The farmer's humble act of lighting a lantern had grown into a powerful legacy, inspiring leaders among settlers and tribal members alike to nurture a culture of compassion and cooperation. Together, they blended traditions and wisdom, teaching the young and old that survival was not merely about enduring hardship, but about caring for one another. Their leadership was quiet yet resolute, emphasizing respect, inclusion, and service to the community. This harmony between people was reflected in the land they tended. Fields flourished, animals thrived, and the once barren plains began to bloom with life. Despite the peace that now defined the village, the reality of frontier life remained ever present. Seasons of drought tested their crops, and cold winters threatened their endurance. But the bonds they forged were stronger than any storm. The community faced each challenge united, drawing strength from their shared faith and the knowledge that they were no longer alone in the wilderness. The farmer's lantern continued to symbolize their resilience, a small light that illuminated even the darkest times. Children grew up steeped in stories of kindness and courage, inspired by the legacy of the lantern and the church it had sparked. They learned that true strength came not from weapons or wealth, but from hearts open to giving and receiving love. These lessons, carried from one generation to the next, ensured that the community's spirit would endure, guiding them through future challenges and triumphs. As twilight descended and the stars emerged like diamonds across the sky, the village rested beneath the gentle glow of the church's lantern. It was a light that embodied their journey, an eternal flame of hope, unity, and faith that would forever shine over the vast, beautiful lands of the Old West. The story of the farmer's lantern and the village's church spread far beyond the horizon, becoming a beacon of inspiration for countless others struggling across the frontier. Tales of how a single act of kindness had united a scattered group into a thriving community stirred hope in hearts worn thin by isolation and hardship. This legend became a symbol that echoed in distant settlements, encouraging people to embrace compassion as a path to survival and peace. The village itself welcomed newcomers seeking more than shelter. They came in search of belonging, of a place where their hopes and dreams could take root. As families arrived, they brought with them diverse customs and talents that enriched the culture and vitality of the community. Schools taught lessons of both survival and humanity. Markets buzzed with trade and connection, and celebrations honored the blend of traditions that made the village unique and strong. Leadership within the village flourished through cooperation and shared wisdom. Tribal elders and settler leaders worked hand in hand, making decisions that honored the past while guiding the future. Their governance fostered a society where justice, kindness, and respect were not just ideals, but daily realities. This balance ensured the community's resilience in the face of adversity, setting an example for others facing the unpredictable challenges of frontier life. Nature itself seemed to respond to this harmony. The rivers sparkled clearer, the fields grew richer, and wildlife returned to the lands tended by hands that understood the delicate balance between taking and giving. This thriving environment was a living tribute to the power of faith and kindness to transform even the harshest lands into homes. As night fell and the village settled beneath the vast starry sky, the church's lantern glowed steady and bright, a timeless reminder of a light that had guided the lost and united the hopeful. It was a symbol of all they had overcome and all they had built, a legacy of hope, faith, and community that would shine through the ages in the wild, magnificent Old West. The village, once a fragile spark of hope in the vast wilderness, now stood as a thriving testament to what could be achieved when hearts and hands come together in compassion and faith. The farmer's lantern, a small flame against the cold and dark, had grown into a beacon of unity, guiding countless souls toward a shared destiny. Families flourished, children grew strong under the nurturing care of their community, and the land itself seemed to rejoice, offering fertile soil and abundant harvest to those who tended it with love and respect. This transformation was not merely survival, but a celebration of life's resilience, a story etched into the very fabric of the frontier. The man who had been guided by that humble lantern had become a pillar of the community, his life a testament to the power of second chances and the enduring impact of kindness. His journey from lost and wandering to leader and mentor inspired all who knew him, showing that even the most fragile beginnings could blossom into greatness. Through his example, the village learned that every person carries within them the light to inspire change, to heal wounds, and to build bridges where none seemed possible. News of the village's remarkable story traveled far and wide, carried by travelers and traders who marveled at the power of hope and community in a world often marked by solitude and strife. Settlements distant and near looked to this shining example, eager to adopt its lessons of cooperation and empathy. The legacy of the farmer's lantern became a guiding principle, reminding all that the smallest acts of light could pierce even the deepest darkness. Though challenges persisted, harsh weather, threats from bandits, and the unpredictability of frontier life, the village faced each with courage and unity. They were fortified not just by walls or weapons, but by the strength of their shared story, their collective faith, and the unbreakable bonds that held them together. This community was a living proof that kindness was the most enduring shield against life's fiercest storms. As the sun dipped below the horizon and stars blanketed the prairie sky, the village rested in the glow of the church's lantern. It was a light that symbolized not only the past struggles, but the promise of a future shaped by hope, love, and the enduring spirit of the Old West. In the quiet moments beneath the infinite expanse of stars, the farmer and the man who had once been lost reflected on the journey that had transformed their lives and the lives of many others. Their friendship, born from a simple act of lighting a lantern in the darkest night, had become the foundation of a community united by faith, resilience, and compassion. They knew that their story was more than history. It was a timeless reminder of the power one person holds to light the way for others. The village they helped build thrived on these principles, passing down stories of kindness and courage to children who would carry the legacy into the future. They learned that strength was found not only in endurance, but in empathy, that leadership was shown through service, and that a single act of hope could ignite a flame that burns across generations. The farmer's lantern had become a symbol of this enduring truth, shining as brightly today as it did on that long-ago night. The land itself seemed to respond to the care and spirit of its people. The once barren plains flourished, rivers ran clearer, and the wild creatures returned, sharing the world with a people who had learned to live in harmony with their surroundings. This balance was the ultimate testament to the power of faith and kindness to transform even the most unforgiving of places. Though the frontier remained wild and unpredictable, the village stood strong, a beacon of what humanity can achieve when guided by light and love. Their story, born of a farmer's lantern and a community's faith, would echo through time, a powerful example that even in the darkest nights, the smallest light can shine brightest. As the lantern's glow continued to illuminate the village and the endless night sky, the farmer and his friends sat in quiet contentment, knowing their legacy would endure, a timeless testament to the courage to give, the faith to hope, and the power of unity in the vast, beautiful Old West. As we draw this unforgettable story to a close, it becomes clear that the true light of the Old West was never just the lantern hanging in the dark, but the compassion that guided it. The farmer's humble act of hanging a lantern to guide the lost became a beacon of hope that illuminated not just the night, but the hearts of an entire community. This legacy teaches us that even the smallest gesture, when offered with genuine kindness, has the power to spark monumental change that echoes through generations. Throughout this journey, we witness that strength is not measured by the land one claims or the battles one wins, but by the courage to offer help when others turn away. The village that rose from the farmer's light reminds us that unity and faith are the true foundations of resilience. It challenges us to ask ourselves, how can we be the light for those wandering in darkness? How can kindness shape the world we live in? Let this story inspire you to carry your own lantern, be it through words, actions, or presence, and to remember that your smallest acts of hope can create ripples that reach far beyond what you see. When we choose empathy over indifference, we forge communities that stand strong through any storm. The spirit of the Old West lives on in every one of us who dares to be a light in the darkness. If this story touched you, please share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. Your voice might be the spark that encourages someone else to act with kindness. And if you want to continue exploring stories that uplift and inspire, be sure to subscribe and join our growing community. Together, we keep alive the legacy of courage, compassion, and hope. Thank you for being part of this journey. May the farmer's lantern remind you always that no matter how dark the night, kindness and unity will light the way forward.